after the short break, William Targaryen and Queen Daenerys Targaryen make their way back into the Hall of Genealogical Records after passing the staircase that goes to the other library. And after entering into the Targaryen Genealogy Library, they take their seat, and she hands William a scroll. This one here, William, is going to be about the third Blackfyre Rebellion. This one did a little bit better than the second, as Aegor Rivers, better known as Bittersteal, did support this one. But you're also going to find out that perhaps he was captured, but they couldn't hold him because others had freed him. In any case, there was some treachery that happened, and though it cannot be proven or disproven, many thought that Bryndon Rivers, known as Bloodraven, had a hand in it because Haegon I Targaryen had given up his sword and yet was still killed without trial. Oh, I see. So wouldn't that be like a violation of the House of Targaryen laws, or the laws of the realm of the kingdom? Exactly, William. You have learned well. When I was queen, for the first time here in the Pyramid Palace of Meereen, though I did appreciate this one who thought he was doing me a favor by taking a slave master who wore a golden mask out of the cell for which he was held and executed him, because if I was not queen here, I probably would have done the same thing. But yet the laws must be upheld, because a king or queen is only good in their ruling if they uphold the same laws with no favoritism to anyone. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. That's why you had to be saying that even if I was to do something wrong, though I be the human husband sits at the right hand following in your stead, you could not show me any favoritisms. That is correct. Well, he pleaded for his life and that he did it for me, but that was not the point. This one was due to have a trial and was denied this when he took the one we held as a prisoner out of the cell and executed him. So in turn, he did not deserve that trial either. And I proclaimed it in front of everyone that this is what happens when one acts treacherously, and I had him beheaded. Of course, several people did not like this and started hissing like snakes at me and then throwing rocks. Fortunately, the Unsullied Warriors had managed to make sure I got back to the Pyramid Palace safely. Well, that same law has been around since even before the time that I was born. I understand. In any case, William, if you're ready to continue your lessons, we will go ahead and move on from here. Yes, Daenerys, I am ready to continue. Very good, then. And so with that, they begin the lessons of Haegon I Blackfyre and the third Blackfyre Rebellion. Aerys Targaryen, daughter of former King Aegon III Targaryen and his queen and wife, Daenerys Velaryon. Aerys Targaryen had waited for the longest time, and much to sadness, Alan Velaryon, who went on a sea expedition never did return. So it was decided at that point that she would go ahead and marry again. So at this time, Laena uh, married once more for love and by her own choosing, a man by the name of Sir Michael Manwoody, a Dornishman who had attended the court of Maria Martell. Michael was sent as an envoy to Braavos on several occasions, and there is record of correspondence between him and the key holders of the Iron Bank. These letters, while signed with Michael's name and fixed with his seal, appear to have been in the handwriting of Laena. While her husband was a cultured man of great wit and learning, Laena said it was not those traits that had caused her to fall in love with him, but his love of music, and he was known to play the harp for her. When Michael died, Laena commanded his effigy to be carved with him holding a harp instead of the sword and spurs of knighthood. The legacy of Laena hereafter. A descendant of Laena's son, Viserys Plum, crossed the narrow sea and became the ancestor of Brown Ben Plum. Laena's bastard son, John Waters, had a son who changed his last name to Longwaters to show that he was true-born himself, and his descendants still live in the Crown Lands today. One Ronifer Longwaters is the chief undergoer of the Red Keep, and is fond of explaining his descent from a Targaryen princess, though he is not often believed. Michael Manwoody. Sir Michael Manwoody was a knight of House Manwoody during the reign of Daemon II Targaryen. He later married Princess Aerys I Targaryen. In history of his early years, Michael studied at the Citadel. He was a cultured man of great learning and wit. He had attended Queen Maria Martell at her court and served at the court of King Daeron II. He became a great confidant of the king. On several occasions, Michael was sent to Braavos to negotiate on behalf of the Iron Throne to the Iron Bank of Braavos. There are letters recorded of correspondence between him and the key holders of the Iron Bank. While it is Michael's name and seal on the letters, the handwriting appears to belong to Princess Aerys I Targaryen. Michael and Laena were wed with the blessings of King Daeron II shortly after the death of Laena's previous husband. As a narrator's note, just as the original story had changed, where Daenerys Stormborn of the House Targaryen was supposed to kill Khal Drogo, it had been rewritten that she was actually having sex with Khal Drogo. Why somebody would change the original history or story is unknown. So, likewise manner, to make this story a little more flow smoothly, the marriage of her and Michael Manwoody wouldn't happen until about the time of Aerys I Targaryen. In any case, their marriage was a marriage of love. According to Princess Aerys, she had fallen in love with Michael because of his passion for music, not his intelligence. Michael would often play the harp for her. When Michael died, Aerys commanded that his effigy be made carrying a harp instead of the sword and spurs, which is commonly used in a knight's effigy. Aerys and Michael had no children together. Behind the scenes, George R.R. Martin named the knight in honor of a late friend whose given name was Michael, and who used the screen name Manwoody. Haegon I Targaryen, son of Daemon I Blackfyre Targaryen and Rohan of Tyrosh. Haegon I Targaryen was actually Haegon I Blackfyre Targaryen, the son of the first Blackfyre Rebellion leader, Daemon I Targaryen. Blackfyre Targaryen. His wife was of Tyrosh, and she had quite the beauty about her, being one who did probably export and imports of goods and trading. At this time, a third son was born, but for his sole protection, his name was withheld from the genealogical records. As the son would grow up, he would become a good, strong knight, but not much else was ever written about him. Daemon Targaryen, daughter of Maekar I Targaryen and Lady Diana Dane. Daemon Targaryen married the son, Prince Aerion Targaryen, as much as it is a surprise, who is the son of Maekar I Targaryen and Lady Diana Dane. And I believe, although I could be wrong because it's long hours, I have to make a correction. Daenora actually was not the daughter of Maekar I Targaryen. She was the daughter of Aegor Targaryen and his wife, Aerys Targaryen. The marriage between Daenora and Targaryen, daughter of Aegor, to Aerion, son of Maekar I, they had one son. His name was Maegor. At the Red Keep, the foolhardy Daemon II Blackfyre Targaryen was still alive at the time. And though it cannot be documented, as it could be sheer speculation or conjecture, perhaps when nobody noticed, Shiera Seastar, who is the half-sister, would pay him a visit, and possibly feeling a little bit guilty, apologize to him. It was shortly thereafter, however, just at the time or before the Third Blackfyre Rebellion, that Daemon II Blackfyre, son of Daemon I Blackfyre and Rohan of Tyrosh, had died in the dungeon cell. Nothing more after that is ever said. King Aerys I Targaryen, who is the son of Daeron II Targaryen and his queen wife, Maria Martell. Continuing on with Aerys I Targaryen's reign, Aerys' brother and heir, as we had already previously covered, Prince Aegor Targaryen, died in 215 AC by choking on a limp-free pie. Rhaegal's son, Prince Aelor, was named heir and made Prince of Dragonstone. Aelor died in 217 AC in a mishap caused by his twin sister, Princess Aelora, who would commit suicide. An unknown amount of time later, Aerys' last heir was his youngest brother, Prince Maekar. But now at this time, the Third Blackfyre Rebellion was launched in 219 AC and ended with capture of Aegor Rivers and the death of Haegon I Blackfyre. Aegor Rivers was brought to King's Landing in chains while Bryndon Rivers and Prince Aerion Targaryen wanted him put to death. King Aerys overruled them and sentenced him to take the Black instead. The ship that was tasked to deliver Rivers to East Watch by the sea, however, was intercepted by Blackfyre Loyalists. Rivers was rescued and returned to the Golden Company and crowned Haegon's eldest son, Daemon III Blackfyre. Then we have some history regarding Aemon Targaryen, son of Maekar I Targaryen and Diana Dane. Aemon, continuing on in history, forged his chain and earned the title of Maester Aemon, finishing his studies at the age of 19. He served an unidentified lord until his father, now King Maekar I, summoned him to court to serve the Iron Throne. Not wanting to sit on the small council, as he felt that would displace the Grand Maester, Aemon chose instead to serve at Dragonstone, the seat of his eldest brother, Prince Daeron, until Daeron died of the pox. After Daeron's death, Maester Aemon became a maester at the citadel. He was summoned to court for the Great Council of 233 AC, where some wanted to offer him the crown. Aemon quietly refused, however, ceding rule to his younger brother Aegon V. Rhaella, Aegon's young daughter, referred to Aemon as Uncle Maester. Aemon then chose to go to the Wall to take the vows of the Night's Watch, for fear that he may be used in a plot to usurp his brother. On his journey, King Aegon provided him with an honor guard, emptying the dungeons to take the vows of the Night's Watch with him. Among them was Bryndon Rivers, who later went on to become Lord Commander of the Watch. Sir Duncan accompanied them aboard the Golden Dragon on the way to the Eastwatch by the sea. Also, it is now at this time that the Third Blackfyre Rebellion commences, and thus ties in the history line of the House of Targaryen. Haegon I Blackfyre. Haegon I Blackfyre was the fourth son of Daemon I Blackfyre. He was the heir to his older brother, Daemon II Blackfyre. In history, after the Battle of the Red Grass Field, failure of the First Blackfyre Rebellion, Haegon was taken to Tyrosh by his uncle Bittersteal. In exile, he had at least two sons, the eldest of which he named Daemon. In 219 AC, Haegon launched the Third Blackfyre Rebellion, which ended in failure. He was slain treacherously after he gave his sword. Once again, as the narrators note, the plural S comes after sons in the genealogical record, which either is a writer's miscue, documented in history, or perhaps there was a third son. In either case, neither second or third son are identified for their sole protection and go into exile. Aegor Rivers, better known as Bittersteal. Aegor was captured at the end of the Third Rebellion and brought to the Red Keep as a captive. While Bryndon Rivers and Prince Aerion Targaryen argued that Aegor should be executed, King Aerys I Targaryen decided to send Aegor to the Wall to join the Night's Watch. The ship taking Aegor north was intercepted, however, and Aegor returned to the Golden Hill. In Tyrosh, before the year was over, Aegor crowned Daemon III Blackfyre, Haegon I's eldest son. Bryndon Rivers, Targaryen. Third Blackfyre Rebellion. In the aftermath of the Third Blackfyre Rebellion, Bloodraven argued that the captive Bittersteal should be put to death. King Aerys I Targaryen decided to send Aegor Rivers to the Night's Watch instead. Bittersteal escaped back to Essos when his ship was intercepted en route to Eastwatch, however. Maekar I Targaryen, son of King Daeron II Targaryen and Maria Martell. In his continuing service to the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdom, we notice that later in life that he had been at the tourney of the Ashford, but that after the accidental death of Daeron's third son, Rhaegal in 215 AC, and Rhaegal's son Aelon in 217 AC, the childless King Aerys recognized his sole surviving brother Maekar as his heir, and Maekar became Prince of Dragonstone. During the Third Blackfyre Rebellion in 219 AC, Maekar was recognized for his leadership. Aegor, better known as Bittersteal Rivers, was captured in battle, and Maekar's son, Aerion, uncle Bloodraven, urged that he be executed. King Aerys was merciful and allowed Bittersteal to join the Night's Watch, a fate he managed to escape. Maekar's opinion on Bittersteal's punishment is unknown. Third Blackfyre Rebellion. The Third Blackfyre Rebellion was a conflict late in the reign of King Aerys I Targaryen. The Rebellion. In 219 AC, Sir Aegor Rivers, known as Bittersteal, launched a new invasion after crowning Haegon I Blackfyre, the fourth-born son of Daemon I Blackfyre. This new invasion took place late in the reign of King Aerys I Targaryen, who was not interested in the details of ruling. The king's younger brother, Prince Maekar I Targaryen, on the other hand, showed his leadership during the conflict. His son, Prince Aerion, fought in the war as well, as did young Prince Aegon, showing his courage. The Third Blackfyre Rebellion featured the second duel between Bittersteal and his half-brother, Bryndon Rivers, who is called Bloodraven. At the end of the final battle, the pretender, Haegon I, was dishonorably killed after he had surrendered and had given up his sword. Aftermath. Bittersteal was taken captive and brought in chains to the Red Keep in King's Landing, where Aerion and Bloodraven urged Aerys I to have Aegor executed. While Bittersteal was found guilty of high treason, the king spared his life and ordered that Bittersteal be sent to the wall instead of facing execution. The rebels learned of Bittersteal's fate, as there were still many Blackfyre friends at court who were willing to inform Aegor's supporters. The ship carrying Aegor to the Night's Watch was taken in the Narrow Sea, while on the way to Eastwatch by the Sea, and Bittersteal was freed and returned to the sellsword company he had founded, the Golden Company. Bittersteal returned to Tyraj, and before the year had ended, he had crowned Haegon's eldest son, Daemon III. Thus, the Blackfyre plotting continued. Eastwatch by the Sea. For those who are fans and or historian buffs, I am a House historian for the House of Targaryen. Not much is heard of about this Eastwatch by the Sea. Eastwatch by the Sea is the easternmost castle along the wall, located on a gray, windswept shore by the Bay of Seals. Near Eastwatch live some fisherfolk, and to the west lies Greengard. Some wildlings trade with the Night's Watch at Eastwatch. Wildlings prefer it to Castle Black because trading ships from the fabled lands beyond the sea visit. The commander of Eastwatch is Cutterpike, while its maester is Harmon. The Night's Watch keeps several galleys at Eastwatch, including larger vessels capable of crossing the narrow sea and lean fighting vessels. The galleys patrol the Bay of Seals in part to catch smugglers who trade weapons with wildlings. Ships stationed at Eastwatch include the Talon, the Blackbird, and the Stormcrow. In history, Maester Balder wrote The Edge of the World while serving at Eastwatch. Maester Willis was last seen at the docks of Old Town, hoping to find transport to Eastwatch. The ship carrying Aegor Rivers to Eastwatch, so he could take the Black, was intercepted en route, allowing him to continue supporting House Blackfyre in exile. The Third Blackfyre Rebellion, during King Aerys I Targaryen's reign, was launched in 219 AC and ended with the capture of Aegor Rivers and the death of Haegon I Blackfyre. Aegor Rivers was brought to King's Landing in chains, and while Bryndon Rivers and Prince Aerion Targaryen wanted him put to death, King Aerys overruled them and sentenced him to take the Black instead. The ship was tasked to deliver Rivers to Eastwatch by the sea. However, was intercepted by Blackfyre Loyalists. Rivers was rescued and returned with the Gold Company and crowned Haegon's eldest son, Daemon III Blackfyre. Aerion Targaryen, son of Diana, Daemon, and Maekar I Targaryen. Later in life, Aerion stayed in the lists for a few years. It is possible that he fathered some children while living there. He served with the Second Sons for a time while in exile. Aerion returned to Westeros at some point and fought in the Third Blackfyre Rebellion in 219 AC. He performed some actions there that are known well. After Aegor Rivers was captured, Aerion and the Hand of the King, Lord Bryndon Rivers, urged King Aerys I Targaryen to put Aegor to death, but the king decided to send the Bittersteal to the Night's Watch instead. Aerion was married to his cousin, Daemon Targaryen. Together they had one child, a son ominously named Maegor, born in 232 AC. The same year as his son's birth, Aerion died screaming after drinking a cup of wildfire, believing it would transform him into a dragon. A year later, King Maekar died, and in the Great Council, Aerion's son Maegor was passed over in the succession, as it was feared that the boy might have inherited his father's cruelty and madness. Daemon Targaryen, son of Diana, Daemon, and Maekar I Targaryen. Later in life, Daeron's father, Maekar, ascended to the throne in 221 AC after the death of King Aerys I Targaryen, who had no other living heirs. This made Daeron the Prince of Dragonstone and heir to the Iron Throne, though he preferred to be called Prince of Summerhall, as he considered Dragonstone such a gloomy abode. Daeron's brother Aemon served as his maester. Daeron married Kiera of Tyrosh, the widow of his cousin, Valar Targaryen. Their daughter Vaela was born in 222 AC and proved to be sweet but simple-minded. Kiera of Tyrosh. In history, during an unknown amount of time later, Kiera was married to Valar's cousin, Prince Daeron Targaryen. Together with Prince Daeron, Kiera had a daughter, Princess Vela, born in 222 AC. Vela proved to be sweet, but sadly simple-minded. Quotes: a shadow came at his command to strangle brave Prince Valar's sons in their mother's womb. By accepting claiming Kiera and Valar's children were magically murdered by Bryndon Rivers, and thus was later executed for treason. And finally, as we get to Daemon III Targaryen, he is now beginning his plot plans for another rebellion, which will eventually be announced in due time. Having now covered the whole entire event of the third attempted Blackfyre Rebellion, which was a little more prosperous than the second, it is now time to name the king. And so we now come to the conclusion of the Third Blackfyre Rebellion, led by Haegon I Blackfyre, who, as it was reported again, treacherously killed after he gave up his sword. Now, as palace historian, if you were to think back a moment, there was a time when someone during Daenerys Stormborn of the House Targaryen reign in the Pyramid Palace of Meereen, Essos, where one thought he was doing the Queen a favor and broke one out of prison, but he didn't have a trial. And so, in fair judgment, Daenerys sentenced him to death without trial, because that is not the Targaryen way. So, one can only theorize that perhaps Bloodraven had violated a Targaryen law, that when one gives up one's sword, you do not merely continue to kill them or execute them, because judgment belongs to that of the king, which was Aerys I Targaryen. So if not for the death of Haegon I Targaryen, it would be for overstepping his authority, taking it away from the king to decide whether Haegon I Targaryen should have been executed or not. In any case, this will not surface until such time that he is caught doing something else that violates another law of the realm of the kingdom. In the meantime, who is to be king now? Well, as we review this genealogical chart here, we already know that Valar cannot be on the throne because of his untimely death, nor can Rhaegal. So, as Aerys I Targaryen, having noticed this, proclaimed Maekar I Targaryen to be the rightful heir to the throne of swords for the realm of the kingdom. Thus it is so. So, in this case then, Maekar I shall be the next ruler to the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdom. At the end of the third Blackfyre Rebellion lesson of the House Targaryen Genealogy, William then seems curious about something. Whatever became of Aegor Rivers? I mean, he goes back to Golden Company. Does anyone ever hear of him again? Well, after he's gone back to Golden Company, I would imagine he's going to, well, you'll find this out, he will crown Daemon III Blackfyre, son of Haegon I Blackfyre, as rightful heir to the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdoms, based on the claimants made by the House of Blackfyre. However, his time will soon be revealed, as much as they could write down, after the new king that you just should have learned right now about is put upon the throne, Maekar I Targaryen. Okay. Well, I guess then we're due for a break. Yes, let's go ahead and take a break. Then we'll come back and start the reign of Maekar I Targaryen, although it may have been short. And then you should learn a little more about this Aegor Rivers Bittersteal. Alright, so with that, they get up and they head out down the halls to the palace terrace for their break.